Carolina Panthers at Arizona Cardinals, a Week 2 clash where desperation collides with momentum. Let's begin at quarterback. Bryce Young enters this game carrying the weight of a 6-23 career record. His Week 1 performance against Jacksonville brought little relief: 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and fewer than 160 passing yards. He looked rushed, tentative, and easily baited into mistakes. His blindside protector, Ikem Ekwonu, remains questionable after an emergency procedure. Without him, Young faces an Arizona defense anchored by Budda Baker, a player whose presence alone forces offensive coordinators to redraw their game plans. If Ekwonu can't stabilize that pocket, Young will again be asked to throw under duress, and when pressured, his turnover rate skyrockets. Across the field stands Kyler Murray. Healthy, confident, and now armed with Marvin Harrison Jr., Murray has rediscovered rhythm. In Week 1, their chemistry was evident: 5 completions, 71 yards, and a score. Add in Arizona's power on the ground, James Conner bruising, Trey Benson explosive, and you see an offense designed to stretch a defense vertically while pounding it horizontally. Murray's mobility also tilts the matchup. Against a defense that has surrendered 200 rushing yards in 7 straight contests, Murray's presence multiplies the stress. Run fits collapse, play action becomes lethal, and Carolina's linebackers will be trapped in hesitation. Now the broader game analysis. Carolina's defense ended last season ranked dead last in both points allowed and rushing yards allowed. Week 1 showed nothing has changed, losing starting defensive tackle. Tershawn Wharton only deepens the wound. Arizona's offensive line has injuries of its own, but their scheme doesn't need perfection. It only needs enough daylight for Conner and Benson to churn. Once Arizona controls time of possession, Carolina's weak third-down conversion rate will leave their defense stranded on the field, compounding fatigue in desert heat. The historical head-to-head says Panthers have dominated this series, but the present reveals a different truth. Carolina is outmanned in the trenches, outmatched in offensive consistency, and entering hostile territory against a Cardinals team hungry for a 2-0 start. And today's AI pick is Cardinals 6.5. Will we cash or will we burn? On to Game 2.
Philadelphia Eagles at Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of Super Bowl LIX, staged under September skies, but carrying the weight of February fire. Quarterbacks define this clash. Patrick Mahomes stands on one sideline, stripped of his weapons, forced to carry an offense missing Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals, and Rashee Rice. Against the Chargers in Brazil, he stumbled early, posting 3 empty drives, 0 for 7 on third down in the first half. The Chiefs adjusted late, but Mahomes had to lead the team in rushing himself. His greatness remains unquestioned, but his arsenal is fractured, leaving Travis Kelce and Hollywood Brown to shoulder a burden too heavy for 2 alone. Across from him stands Jalen Hurts, a champion who has defeated Mahomes twice in succession, including the 40-22 dismantling in last year's Super Bowl. In Week 1 against Dallas, Hurts showed command, completing 19 of 23 passes, scoring twice with his legs, and finishing the night by grinding out the clock. He is the Eagles' engine, quarterback and running back, tactician and closer. Even without Dallas Goedert in the lineup, Hurts' dual threat profile forces defenses into impossible arithmetic. Stack the box against Saquon Barkley, and Hurts punishes you with designed runs. Drop into coverage, and Barkley finds daylight. The game analysis points to trench war. The Eagles' front, led by Jalen Carter and Zadarius Smith, attacks a Kansas City line that bent against the Chargers. Vic Fangio's system thrives when pressure is generated by 4, and Mahomes knows this. His improvisation is magic, but compressed windows and constant heat create turnovers. Philadelphia's offense, meanwhile, is built for attrition. Barkley churns, Hurts scrambles, the clock bleeds. At Arrowhead, the crowd roars, but volume doesn't create separation for a depleted receiving corps. The market has spoken. Despite 90% of the money landing on Kansas City, the line never moved off Philadelphia, 1.5. That is resistance. That is sharp agreement with what the tape already says. The Eagles' structural advantages overwhelm the Chiefs' missing pieces. The total sits unmoved at 46.5. Even with 90% of tickets on the under, another signal that the books are holding firm. The old ways tell you to fear Mahomes at home. The data tells you his weapons are gone, his protection vulnerable, his defense about to spend 4 quarters chasing Hurts in space. And today's AI pick is Eagles, 1.5. Will we cash or will we burn? On to Game 3.
Denver Broncos at Indianapolis Colts. A Week 2 meeting inside Lucas Oil Stadium where unbeatens collide and one contender must fracture. Quarterback play will shape everything. For Denver, Bo Nix walks in with scars. His rookie season bought him credibility, but his 2025 opener reopened old wounds. 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a fumble that reminded the league he is still volatile. The Colts' secondary, however, may be the cure. With Charvarius Ward and Jalen Jones both out, Indianapolis is forced to line up backups against Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. This is Nix's chance at redemption, a moment to steady himself by attacking the weakest point on the field. But if he fails to protect the football, even against a wounded defense, Denver's ceiling will collapse inward. Daniel Jones stands on the other sideline, fresh off a flawless debut that electrified Colts fans. In Week 1, he led Indianapolis to scores on every possession, something unseen in decades. Yet context matters. That came against Miami, a defense missing bite and discipline. Now he faces Denver, the league's sack leader, a defense anchored by Patrick Surtain II and designed to turn rhythm quarterbacks into hesitant shadows of themselves. Jones has lived this before. Moments of brilliance punctuated by regression into turnovers. Denver's front will test whether his breakout is sustainable or fleeting. The broader game analysis points to attrition. Denver's defense remains elite, even without linebacker Dre Greenlaw. Their identity is pass rush, and against Indianapolis's line, this becomes trench warfare. The Colts counter with Jonathan Taylor, who must churn yards against a Broncos unit that allowed under 100 rushing yards per game last year. If Taylor breaks free, Indy controls tempo. If he's stoned at the line, Jones will be forced into obvious passing downs, exactly where Denver thrives. On the other side, Indianapolis is broken at the back end. Without their starting corners and possibly without pass rusher Laiatu Latu, the Colts cannot risk blitzing. They'll sit in zone, daring Bo Nix to beat them patiently. Denver will oblige with a run-heavy script, J.K. Dobbins grinding carries to shorten the game, while Nix looks for opportunistic shots. The environment suggests control, not fireworks. The line opened Broncos 3.5, now 2.5, even with most of the money on Denver. That reverse movement whispers caution. The total opened 44.5 and sits at 43.5, with the market and the matchup both pointing the same way. And today's AI pick is under 43.5. Will we cash or will we burn? On to Game 4.
Atlanta Falcons at Minnesota Vikings. A primetime stage inside US Bank Stadium where the lights burn hot and the acoustics are weaponized against visiting willpower. Quarterbacks first. Michael Penix Jr. steps in as the Falcons starter, fresh off a 298-yard debut against Tampa Bay. He showed poise, hit Bijan Robinson out of the backfield for 100 receiving yards, but also relied on volume, 42 attempts, when the ground game collapsed. Atlanta only managed 69 rushing yards on 28 carries. Penix is accurate in rhythm. One missed kick from Younghoe Koo turned his late touchdown into heartbreak. On the other side, Minnesota unveils J.J. McCarthy on a national stage. His debut at Chicago was uneven, a pick six, an early deficit, but he responded with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing score to rally the Vikings late. McCarthy is not yet polished, but his confidence under pressure energized the roster. With Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison stretching the field, his ceiling rises quickly if protection holds. Now, the matchup analysis. Minnesota is carrying urgency. Their schedule sends them overseas in weeks 4 and 5, Dublin, then London, an exhausting swing that makes this home game essential. That intensity can fuel dominance, but also crack if early mistakes stack. Atlanta enters as the underdog, a role they've worn before. The betting market reveals a subtle fracture. The line opened Vikings 4.5, but has dropped to 3.5, even as public tickets lean Minnesota. That's reverse movement. Sharp money drifting toward Atlanta. The key battleground is possession control. The Falcons need Bijan Robinson to do more than catch dump-offs. He must reestablish the run and dictate tempo. If he keeps McCarthy and Jefferson on the sideline, Atlanta drags the game into a slugfest. Minnesota's defense was second in the NFL last year against the run, allowing only 93 yards per game, so the Vikings front will sell out to choke Robinson and force Penix into predictable third downs. The total has drifted down from 45.5 to 44.5, signaling expectation of a slower, grinding pace. Both teams want balance, both defenses can tighten in the red zone, and explosive scoring may be scarce. But in the spread battle, Atlanta carries the sharper edge. Undervalued in the market, drawing sharp support, and equipped to play close in a trench war. And today's AI pick is Falcons plus 3.5. Will we cash or will we burn?
Memory begins. Game 1, Panthers at Cardinals. The AI pick was Cardinals 6.5. Game 2, Eagles at Chiefs. The AI pick was Eagles 1.5. Game 3, Broncos at Colts. The AI pick was under 43.5. Game 4, Falcons at Vikings, Sunday Night Football. The AI pick was Falcons plus 3.5. Like and subscribe. Will we cash or will we burn? And I will leave you with an old saying in German, Der Teufel steckt im Detail. The devil is in the details.